Naved Syed, Chairman of UK Halal Corporation and advisor to eBlex, presented eBlex's Halal Farm to Fork DVD at the House of Lords to Lord Nazir and colleagues.
Well, it's very informative DVD and it's very interesting, but it's also very important as well because now we can compare the slaughter of animals, whether stun or without stun, and similarly with the chickens as well. So it's a very, very interesting DVD.
Also, I'd like some of your thoughts regarding automation and the blessed blade. What are your thoughts as a leading Islamic peer? What are your thoughts regarding that?
Well, first of all, let me say that the consumption of halal meat is much greater than the production. And so we are deeply concerned with that because obviously we don't know where this so-called halal meat is coming from. The blessed blade is, to be honest, I don't class it as Islamic. I think it's haram, it's not halal, because although I'm not an Islamic scholar, but there's no such thing as blessed blade. The Islamic way is very clear. There's no halfway for halal food. You either do it with your hand with Bismillah, Allahu Akbar on it, or you do it the other way. So in my view, the only halal meat is where people actually do it themselves with the hand and also do it with the takbir as well, because that's very clear in the Quran and also in a hadith. As far as I'm concerned, those individuals and companies who are giving certificates for these companies and organizations who are using blessed blade, they are committing a crime. And whether it is a moral crime, whether it is a crime against anything in this country, I think we need to look at it and we need to report them to the government.
Obviously, I showed you the tape on the eBlex, which actually reflects your thoughts that the slaughtering, whether it's stun or non-stun, but must be done by a Muslim slaughterman. Is that the kind of, would that help the Muslim community in your opinion?
Well, obviously, anything that actually gives clean food, good quality of food, and it's halal and it's accordance with the Sharia, in accordance with Hadith and the Quran, and that's the only one that I would accept. I wouldn't accept anything less than that. And so therefore, whilst I know there's a big debate in terms of stunned food, stunned meat and unstunned meat, the DVD that I saw, I thought that was quite actually with the sheep. I didn't see anything wrong with that because immediately within a few seconds you can actually kill the sheep, and with that sort of current, which is all automatic and computerized, I think you're getting a very good quality of food.
Would the Muslim community accept this kind of thing, in your opinion?
Well, I think there's a huge difference. We've got to accept the fact that there are people with different points of view. It's very much similar to the moon and the Eid debate, and also the debate on start of Ramadan and celebrating Eid, because people have different views. But this is very clear. The way we are going about these things is not where we need to be, because there are individuals who are giving out certificates on these blessed blades. There are people who are giving certificates because they are charging money and they are not providing halal food. We need to have good quality of halal food, and that has to be monitored, that has to be regulated, and the only way we can do it is by having a certain minimum standard.
You mentioned regulation. There are regulations covering non-halal meat, something like UCAS 45011, which covers non-halal meat. Would you like to see something like that for halal meat as well?
Absolutely. We are British citizens. We need to have the same standards. The only difference is that some food is halal and the other one isn't. But those who actually use kosher food, they have a minimum standard, and I don't see why we don't expect and demand for a minimum standard as well.
So I'm right in saying what you're saying is that we should have some kind of regulation system, like the Organic Society, the Animal Welfare, all these, and Soil Association. Would you expect halal to be the same way, regulated by government I'm talking about, or individuals?
Well, you see, It would have been better if we could have done it voluntarily, but unfortunately that's not proved to be, because there are people who are making money from this whole thing. And so it's better if it was regulated by the government. Unfortunately, this is not going to happen easy, but the pressure has to come from the communities. The pressure has to come from the Muslims in Britain, and once the pressure is there, then I'm sure that the government will also react to it.
I'm David Taylor, the Labour Member of Parliament for North West Leicestershire in the East Midlands of England. I'm on the Select Committee for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs in the UK Parliament. I do believe that regulation could be improved, and I do believe that labelling could be improved as well. I think that halal meat, either pre-stunned or non-stunned, would be a useful piece of information for those that are buying halal lamb. So labelling and regulation and inspection of the halal abattoirs would be a very useful step forward, and I've been convinced by that in what I've seen today. But I do believe that the standards that the Meat Hygiene Service and the local authorities will accept, sometimes of halal abattoirs, are occasionally lower than the rest of the population would reasonably expect. And I think that there's a problem waiting to happen here. We see problems in the food chain in this country from time to time, and in other countries as well. And I think that the next food scare, next food disaster could well originate in this area, and that's what worries me. It's a matter of not only of compliance with the Quran, which is very important, but it's a matter of health, and it's a matter of animal welfare. Those three things can be brought together: health of the consumer, animal welfare in the interest of the animal, and the Quran expects to see animals treated appropriately, and of course compliance with the tenets of the Quran. And I'm convinced that stunning, what the video shows, is that the stunning does not kill the animal. The animal can recover, and therefore pre-stunning and then slaughter is compliant with the Quran, and that's increasingly what the Muslim consumers are saying, because 2/3 or more of lamb has been stunned, and those figures are steadily increasing. I have talked to the food minister, the new food minister, who was appointed just yesterday, Jim Fitzpatrick, and I want him to see the DVD. I want to talk to him. I want him to be able to talk to Muslims that are involved in this particular area of meat production and consumption, and I'm optimistic that he will encourage the government to start to reform the law in this area, and that's what I would like to see. Reform the law on inspection of abattoirs, on labelling and on slaughter, all the time, making sure it's compliant with the Quran. Of course that's right, but other countries have done it, and I'm sure that we in the United Kingdom can do it as well. It's both right in a community sense, it's right in a health and safety sense, it's right in an animal welfare sense, but it's also right in a commercial sense. It'll be good for British farmers, good for those that produce British meat and British lamb, and that's excellent news all round, and I'm sure that we can move forward steadily. I'm not going to push people on this, but we want to encourage people to use the information that the DVD shows to have a high proportion of lamb that is stunned prior to slaughter. It's about 70-30 now. Let's move forward to 80-20, 90-10. And I'm sure that the Muslim community, who care about animal welfare as much as any other section of the community, that then we can deliver that for them as well.
I think it has been excellent videos. It portrays the reality as what happens in the abattoirs. Nicely, professionally made, very informative. I think it will provide an aid to those people who demand nice, clean meat and halal slaughtered to make their own choices. And you've succeeded in portraying something which will benefit the Muslim world.